The guests and discussions on this show are not endorsed by the show or show host. The content is provided for informational and educational purposes only. Nothing you hear is intended to substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, and/or treatment by a qualified health professional.
Welcome to Health Revolution with V, your integrative health adventure. Welcome to the Health Revolution with V show. I can't tell you how excited I am to have our current guest on the show. She is a friend of mine, a dynamic and incredible woman, and we are going to learn today about yoga. So let me introduce my guest, Tamela Staubs. I'm so sorry, I do that all the time. Tamela is a radiant and amazing woman. She is a yoga instructor. She's a real estate guide dedicated to uplifting others. When she's not leading her yoga students to serenity on the mat or navigating the world of property, Tamela spreads joy through volunteer work as a mermaid in local communities, which, yes, she does do mermaid. It's amazing, and we're going to talk about that too. So welcome, Tamela, to the show.
Thank you so much, Veronica. It's a pleasure to be here today.
It's my pleasure. We finally got you on the show. How exciting. So I would love for you to tell the audience more about you, because I think you're such an incredible woman. So share some nuggets about yourself.
Well, thank you so much. That is so wonderful to hear. So I absolutely love people, in case you haven't noticed. I enjoy teaching yoga. It's bringing people to a peaceful place so many times. And it's all about them being on the mat and being with themselves. And I also have the opportunity to partake in yoga as well. Not only vinyasa yoga, which is a breathing yoga where we'll do an inhale and an exhale, but also I have aerial yoga in my forte as well that I can teach. And then we move into, as you were talking about, some mermaiding as well. So we'll talk about that, I'm sure. But I have been teaching yoga for a little over, I believe, 8 years at this point.
Wow.
And I've had the opportunity to learn that it's not just what we might think it is. It's not just the physical movements and being able to be strong and I can do a handstand. It's also the emotional, mental, the soul connection, bringing everything into your heart, and your breathing is so important. We only use the upper portion of our lungs most times. So it's an absolutely amazing.
I think you should share with us. You said vinyasa yoga. How about you give us some information on the different kinds of yoga that you practice?
So there's Bikram yoga, which is specific movements that you have to follow the rules in a sense. I would say it's following the rules. That would be my interpretation. There's Hatha yoga, which is a little bit slower, in my opinion. That's the way I would describe it in layman's terms. And then you have Nidra yoga, which is simply laying down and having a guided voice, a voice guiding you through a meditation as your body relaxes. It's almost like getting 4 hours worth of sleep within about less than 30 minutes of speaking. And then vinyasa yoga is what I typically teach, and that's where we speak about breathing. So we'll do an inhale, rise up, and then an exhale and let yourself fold all the way down. So we're doing the movements, the poses, along with our breathing all along the way. And breathing becomes an important part of it.
Is there something that we can do here together to show people? Is there something that they could do like from a chair, that like a breathing exercise that would be kind of yogic, like a yoga?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm making up my own words as I go.
It's okay. Yogic is great. Yogic, yogis, all of the above. Just showing up is the most important part so many times. Showing up for yourself and self-love and self-care. So absolutely. So if we start to ground down, you can always close the eyes if you would like to, if you're sitting in a chair. You can place the palms on the tops of the knees if you would like, or palms up if you'd like to receive energy, palms down if you'd like to retain energy. I typically close down my eyes, as you can see. So if you would like to close the eyes, or a soft, gentle gaze, whichever works for you. And we're going to breathe in through all 3 parts of our lungs, the upper, the middle, and the lower. So if you have use your imagination, you have an upper section, a middle section, and a lower. I'm going to ask you to take in a breath and hold it. And then we're going to open the mouth and we're going to exhale and let it all go out. And we'll do that 3 times fairly quickly. So when you're ready, take in a deep breath, hold it for just a moment. Open the mouth, exhale, let everything go out. Your next breath in, drawing in breath, expanding the lower portion of your lungs, pushing the belly out, the upper portion of lungs, then coming all the way up, holding your breath for a moment, hold it, And then open your mouth and let everything go. Let the shoulders come away from the ears and let all of the breath go out. Pull the belly button towards the spine as you expel the air. Your next breath in, drawing in breath, inhaling, rise the crown of the head, the top of the head up towards the ceiling, expanding the lungs. The lower portion expands, the middle portion, the upper portion of your lungs. Hold your breath for a moment. Hold it, a little sip of air. Hold the tongue to the roof of the mouth. Hold the air. Open your mouth and let it go out. Let everything go. And your last one, just like that. Take in a breath of air, expanding the lower portion of your lungs, pushing the belly all the way out, the middle portion of the lungs, the upper portion of the lungs, holding the breath, letting that air, letting it expand within the lungs. Hold it, tongue to the roof of the mouth if you'd like, a little sip of air, and open your mouth and let everything go. And then when you're ready, we flutter the eyes open, we come back into the room. And from there, it helps to calm the parasympathetic nervous system. So if you're ever in line in the grocery store and you're feeling anxiety, especially anxiety, because our mind starts to race, the breathing helps us to calm everything back down.
That was pretty incredible, actually. I love breath work. Oh my gosh. So thank you for sharing that. You all are very welcome. Thank you for sharing that nugget with us right now. I love that. So, how does yoga contribute to not just physical health, but like the mental and emotional aspects of health?
So many times through life, as we're going through life in general, especially nowadays with all of the technology and with all of the things happening nonstop, we're constantly on the go. We're going. We don't take the time to slow down. And so often yoga teaches us to ground. It teaches us to be focused and in the moment rather than racing. The mind tends to race all over the place, but it allows us to focus, go within, and maybe hear that small voice within that tells us and guides us rather than just flying around all over the place. And so many times if we've noticed, you'll be driving along and where is your mind when you're driving? Or you're doing one task and your mind is on something else. So it helps to bring the mind back as well in today's times when we're all over the place in everything that we do.
I know for being more present, right? Because they have to be paying attention to the breath and paying attention to those movements and feeling the body and being present. Mm-hmm. And that's so true.
And then the other part is we have such an accomplishment when we're on the mat and we can do something that we may not have been able to do. I have a gentleman coming to class now that I am absolutely amazed at. It's the first time he's ever been in yoga, and he's learning how to ground through his feet. He's learning all these things, and everyone there is getting him to come back and cheering him on. And so that's that camaraderie. It's community, which is what yoga is. We're bringing together community. And then we're also working on ourselves internally, our self-love and our self-care. Because how often do we stop? How often do we all stop, take a breath, and just care for ourselves?
And that's the truth. And most people, like even I who know to do that, have to catch myself and be like, time to breathe, Veronica. Speaking of which, we're going to have to take a breather from the show for just a moment. We have to thank our commercial sponsors. Those are the people that make the show possible for all of us. But don't go away. We will be back. We have a lot more to talk with Tamela about after the break.
Apex Electric is a family-owned and operated, licensed and insured electrical contractor with over 30 years of experience. No job is too big or too small. With free estimates and a 1-year warranty, Apex Electric is your premier contractor on the Treasure Coast. AAPEXElectricinc.com.
Google Bins Pest Control, Florida. Got bugs, you know what to do. Call 772-878-1972.
Forever Young Stewart can help you look and feel your best with our amazing aesthetic services, IV therapies, and bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. These services and more will aid in your overall physical and mental health. Please visit us at foreveryoungstewart.com. That's the number 4, everyoungstewart.com.
Have you been told that you need to cut way back on sugars due to a health condition? Do you find yourself struggling to give up the sugars even though you know your health depends upon it? If you answered yes, my online Hidden Sugars class is for you. Take charge of your health and visit eatingwithv.com and take the class. Welcome back to the Health Revolution with V show. I have my dynamic, incredible, beautiful guest here today, Tamela Staubs, and we are talking about yoga. If you missed any part of this, you definitely want to go back and listen in. She gave some incredible nuggets, and we did a breath exercise together. And for those of you that have been present for that, I hope you enjoyed every moment of it, and it will be available on the recording as well. You can see this show and all of the other shows at eatingwithv.com. That's eatingwithv.com, and go to Health Revolution tab, and you can watch Tamela's show as well as all of the other amazing shows that we have created for you. So welcome back, Tamela. It is such a pleasure. So much to talk about. We were talking on the break about her logo, and you just have to hear her talk about her logo. So tell us about your logo.
So the logo is EMT, and if you see the arrow that comes from the T headed towards the E, it's Empower Me, Tamela. The reason the M is in the center of the heart is because you're at the heart of everything that I do, because it's all about you. So empower me. So empower me, Tamela, meaning my name. And so the arrow goes from the T, which is for Tamela, over to the E, and you're the most important part, being the M with it in pink as well in the center. And if you think about it, the pink and the green are the heart chakra, because we want to cover our heart. So if you ever imagine the color green, especially if you're in yoga or you're meditating or just in your daily activity, imagine the heart being engulfed in the color green or even the color pink.
Don't you just want to go do some yoga with her? I know I do. Thankfully, we're friends and I can go do that. So let's talk about stress, because we all know that these days have been far more stressful than probably we've ever seen in our lifetime, with so much craziness going on. And how does yoga help people to deal with stress?
Well, there's two things, and one I wanted to start with because it circles back to what you do as well. So stress eating is something that a lot of people do, and through breath work, through yoga, because a lot of it has to do with breath work as well, you can actually help yourself digest your food. So that's a whole nother subject that we can go through at some point, because there are breathing exercises, especially in the world that you're in, and especially with the show that we're on. So that's a whole nother subject. But as far as stress in general, taking that deep breath helps to calm the parasympathetic nervous system. So if we can stop in our moment and we can ground down through our feet, and being on the mat, even if you're in Shavasana or even if you're in Yoga Nidra, taking those moments of time just to allow the body to decompress, allowing the body to come down. Even in a child's pose, which is where the knees are underneath and the head is bowed down, we are in a pose that is decompressing. It's allowing the spine to decompress, for gravity pushes down on the head all day long and it compresses the spine. And in that pose, we're decompressing the spine. Even a forward fold allows the body to decompress. And when we turn the cells upside down and we go the other direction with the cells, they're not quite sure what to do. So therefore, you have to be present and be in the moment, which also helps you to calm and not be so stressed out about everything that's happening around you.
You know, on that note, I do want to share, because you're talking about the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the calming side. On the opposite of that is the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight response, which a lot of people are living in on a daily basis. You're drinking caffeine in the morning, you're in fight or flight. You're smoking cigarettes, you're in fight or flight. You're stressing out, you're in fight or flight. So what Tamela does is she's going to help you to get out of that chronic sympathetic nervous system state and let the parasympathetic come in and actually start to heal the body and heal the mind, right?
Yes, absolutely. And you talked about smoking too. That's a whole nother subject. So a lot of times when we smoke, it's because we want to take in a deep breath. We just want to take in a deep breath, hold it for a moment. If you think about smoking, inhaling, vape, whatever it might be, we're holding that and then we're exhaling it out. So one of the ways that people can work through that, if they choose to, is also by learning breath work and learning to take in a breath and hold it for a moment. If you want to go outside for the break, go outside for the break, stand outside, start doing some breathing exercises, and they may find that that's also a way to come through that, because that's a stress relief.
Well, they think that nicotine is calming them, but nicotine is a stimulant. Yeah. So it's really the breathing that is helping the smoker to calm.
That's it.
Ironically, right? So you go to smoke, but you're adding in these like exciting things to your body, right? It's like nicotine is like energy, and you're not calming your body. It's the breathing that's calming your body. So you're welcome. A little note on smoking. Give it up.
And another side note is when we meditate, when we go into that response, when we're in yoga, when we're moving through the exercises, we're also releasing from the body all of the things that were stored. So in a hip opener pose where the knees may be out to the side, we're sitting in a butterfly. A lot of people have done that in, when they were doing classes in school or whatever, their exercise, or maybe with a therapist, whatever it might be. But you do a butterfly and you open, we're opening up the hips, which is releasing emotion. So sometimes emotions will come up with that. And you'll see people where their knees are really high up or people where they're really far down. And a lot of times we can tell if they express emotions through that too. So you release things that are stored in the body through yoga as well. So you'll allow yourself to release. So a lot of that stress can be released and we let it go out. And then if you go into hot yoga, you're talking about a whole nother releasing of toxins and letting the toxins come out.
Hot yoga, ladies.
Yes.
We're going to have to talk about that too. This is heating up in here. We're going to have to take a break. So we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go away. We're going to get a word from our commercial sponsors, those people that make this show possible for us all. And we'll be back in just a moment. Is your insurance company telling you that you have to replace your roof? Nice Roofing is a family and veteran-owned and operated local business. Choose peace of mind and quality work with this Owens Corning Platinum Certified contractor. Join thousands of satisfied customers. Visit niceroofing.com.
Need plumbing fast? Choose Benjamin Franklin Plumbing of Port St. Lucie. Or if there's any delay, it's you we pay. Guarantee ensures punctuality. For every minute we're late, we pay you $5, up to $300. Call today at 772-CALL-BEN for reliable service you can count on.
I Think Financial is a local credit union with a full portfolio of personal, business, and real estate services. We have a great team of professionals that care about you and financial success. Visit Elisha at the Hutchinson Island office at 1929 Seaway Drive, Fort Pierce, and other local branches on the Treasure Coast. I Think Financial.
When disaster strikes, turn to the experts at Dry Medic of Port St. Lucie. For all your remediation needs, water, fire, mold, we've got you covered. Fast, reliable, and experienced. Call us today at 772-404-3266. Dry Medic, restoring peace of mind when you need it the most.
Welcome back to the Health Revolution with V Show with my very special guest, Tamela Staubs. And she is a yoga master and she is also a mermaid. So I love it. We do have to talk about that. But anyway, you can find Tamela at empowermetamela.com. That's EMPOWERMETAMELA.com. So her name, empowermetamela.com. So we don't have a lot of time, so let's talk about these other awesome things that I want to talk about with you. Flexibility and balance. We know balance is huge with our seniors and even with us. So let's talk about that some more, yoga and balance and flexibility.
So when you're balancing, one of the techniques or one of the poses that I bring all of my yoga students through, and I have a lot of people that are over the age of 70 that still have their flexibility because they've been working through it for years. You can come to yoga today. Yoga meets you wherever you are. So you can come to it today and start getting flexible now and build on your stability. You might amaze yourself within a couple of days, as a matter of fact. So for stability, one of the things that I typically guide, if you put your feet down onto the ground and you lift your toes up, whether they're in shoes or they're not in shoes, and you imagine the grounding points behind the big toe, behind the pinky toe, the insides of the heels are your 4 grounding points. If we were to walk around that way, we would feel ourselves grounding a lot and a lot more stability, because stability tends to start in our feet because we're upright most of the time. Grounding there, lifting up the toes, engaging the upper thighs, engaging the glutes. Pull the belly button back to the spine. Let the shoulders come away from the ears. The chin is in a neutral position. And we imagine a string is pulling the head all the way up towards the sky. So we're helping to align the spine. And then we're also helping our stability so that we're grounding down. We take in a breath of air and exhale and put our toes down to the ground. And you can do that in the sand. You can do it in the grass. You could do that in the grocery store line, which I tell a lot of people. And that's a way that they remember my voice as it guides them through. And as far as flexibility, have you ever noticed that person that can't quite reach down and pick up something off of the ground, or they can't get out of the chair? And our modern society tells us get a higher bed, and it tells us get a chair that lifts us up and out. Well, if we were to use the muscles, it would stabilize. We stabilize by holding in the abdominal muscles, pulling the belly button to the spine, helping the spine to be stable. And then we can walk around upright and we can get out of the chair because we're using the muscles like they were designed to be used. The body has its own ability to, if you believe, heal itself or do things to help assist us. And that's one of them, is the flexibility and then the stability. Extremely important throughout our entire lives. Our skeletons and our bones and our muscles are made to do that for us.
Yeah, that's amazing. What great information that is right there.
But now as a mermaid, I have to have my legs together, so I can't always do that. I have to have my land legs.
You got to tell us more about this mermaid thing. And I've seen her. She makes an outstanding mermaid. But tell us about the mermaid. We got to hear.
So mermaiding is something that I typically do as volunteer work. I do the Key West Mermaid Festival, where we raise money for the reef. The reef is, unfortunately, we've abused it a lot, so we need to bring back our reef, because without our water, where would we ever be? Mm-hmm. So I do volunteer work for that. I'll be doing some other volunteer work for some other groups, like the Inner Truth Project. I'll be doing a volunteer event for them in April. I'm doing a mermaid cruise. I'm working on a mermaid retreat, so that we'll have some yoga in that, as well as a photo shoot being a mermaid with a mermaid tail, and some other items as well, so that they can learn about healthy eating also. So there's a lot of mermaid events that I do as volunteer work. I am available to do other events, but they're typically my volunteer work that I do with people. It brings a smile to everyone. I've been in the parade a couple of times and been on a couple of television channels as well as a mermaid. So it's been pretty amazing to bring the smiles to people and really to allow them to live a dream sometimes, putting my tail on letting them borrow my tails and letting them live a dream, or helping people with their dream.
Mm-hmm. And that's so true. Like I was talking with Jesse, the producer, on the break, and I had been a mermaid a few times at the Hope Sound Seafood Festival, and just seeing the little kids like, "Mommy, it's a mermaid," and then they're taking pictures with the mermaid, and I mean, I can't even imagine how that impacts a child at that age to just say, "Oh man, I took pictures with a mermaid," right? So that must be like fill your soul, kind of.
That refills my soul. And it's also, I think one of the things for me, and my daughter has used this in talking to other people, women my age or older will say, "Oh, you can't do that. You're too old for that," or whatever. And my daughter will say, "Not really. My mom's a mermaid, and she's not real young." Or she's like, "Oh, she turns upside down on silks." So I think it empowers others. And that's the whole thing, back to empower me. It empowers others to feel like they can do the same thing.
And Tamela's mission, as you can see, is empowerment at any level, whether it's empowering you with your balance and yoga and stretching and making your body and mind stronger, or empowering from children up, to letting people know that they are powerful and empowered and stepping into their own strength, right? Absolutely. I think that's so amazing. Yeah. So let's go, let's give more information on how to find you. Because unfortunately, we are running out of time. So if you can give us the information to find you, that would be perfect.
Absolutely. So you can find me on the website. It's empowermetamela.com. And then also, as you can see there up on the screen, and then you can also, if you want to, you can find me on Facebook as well. You can just look up my name on Facebook. It's under Tamela Utterback Staubs. So you can find that on there as well.
There she is as a mermaid.
Yep, I'm a mermaid on my YouTube channel too.
For those of you that are on the podcast and not watching the video, I highly recommend coming back around and watching the video version. And you can find that at eatingwithv.com. That's eatingwithv.com. So Tamela, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much, Veronica. It is a pleasure to be here with you. It's a pleasure to share with everyone. I am so grateful that we had this opportunity.
Me too. Thank you so much. And we will see all of you on the next episode of Health Revolution with V.